welcome to What's Up Ocala. I'm your host, Andrew Praber, and today I will be talking about some fantastic ways to save money. I know that for myself, right now I'm looking at the end of 2023 and I'm thinking, what have I accomplished? What do I want to accomplish next year? What in the world is going on with my finances? And man, what has happened to the bills and everything? The last few years, it has just absolutely, even our grocery budget has gone through the roof. So I figured if I am struggling, if I'm looking at this going, what in the world has happened to our budget, then maybe some of you are feeling the same way. So some of the things that we have done to make sure that we don't feel it too much in our day-to-day lives, even though things have gotten a lot more expensive out there, we cut corners where we can. Some of these you may already know. It's not like this is, some outlandish, crazy thing to do, but maybe it's some that you forgot or you didn't know about. So stick around. Let's just talk about some of the ways that you can save money even this time of year, just by doing things just a little bit differently. I would say one of the things that has changed the way we spend money together, my husband and I, is by budgeting. I know it's like a cuss word for some, but honestly, I find it very freeing. And I say that because I have a budget of line items. I don't have to, say I can't do this or I can't do that. It allows me to know what I can do without hurting or interfering with something else that we've set as a priority in our lives. So we definitely will budget. Now, what's worked for us may not work for everyone. Some people like to have a budgeting app, and that's perfectly fine. Some people like to have a pencil and paper, and that's, again, perfectly fine. What works for us is we actually, I love all things Google, I know, but we actually use a Google Drive kind of spreadsheet. And so we both have access to it. And I normally update it with, information going in, and then my husband is the one that actually pays the bill. It used to be that I was paying the bills, and kind of when we got married and merged everything, we both found out that he was much better at it. And there's different philosophies for how we do bill paying and stuff, but he, I always try to pay everything way in advance, even though it wasn't doing us any good. So he's like, no, that's not what you want to do. So he was actually, he started doing the bills, and it just made things a lot less complicated. And, we're 100% commission in our lives. Being entrepreneurs, that's what you are. So it's not like there's, salaries or anything like that we have. So when you're on 100% commission, you really, really have to be very clear as to what your budget is going to be ahead of time. So that's definitely something that has been probably the most useful and the most game-changing. And also it kind of opens the door for communication between us as to what we're planning as far as vacations and stuff like that, because we have to have a line item for it. So it's very cool. One other thing that I would say is probably our cars. I know a lot of people expect for a real estate broker to drive some kind of fancy car. And there's a lot of discussion online with that, that if you show up for an appointment and you don't have, a Lexus or a Tesla or, I don't know, a big honking F-250 or a Jeep or something, I don't know, whatever is, the expensive car of the day, a Mercedes or whatever, then you're just not a good real estate agent. With us, we have decided not to play that game. And so we both found out that a lot of the expense of a car is, basically we let somebody else pay for it for the first couple of years. So we don't purchase brand new cars. We've never purchased, in our entire marriage, we've never purchased a brand new car. So we don't. We always get one that's at least 2 years old. And what that does is it allows somebody else to pay for the depreciation, the massive part of the depreciation. Now, you're not going to see me drive up in some Mercedes-Benz or whatever. Anyway, I drive a Prius. I love my Prius. I absolutely adore it. First off, it gets 57 miles to the gallon or more. I think the most I've seen is 61 miles to the gallon. I adore that car. It's a little red speedy thing. I just adore it, okay? It's very logical, but it's also very comfortable. I definitely have a nicer model of it. It has, you know, the leather seats and the bigger screen and all of that fun stuff. But it was reasonable, and I don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on something that's not going to appreciate. I would rather save my money and put it into something that I can invest in for our future and for our children. So that is something that we both agree on as well. So putting a bunch of money into vehicles is not something that we do. We do go and do a lot of stuff. You know, if I need to use a truck or something like that, I go and rent it for the day. I have done that many times over, and that has been absolutely phenomenal. So for us, that's what we do. If we need to rent, you know, F-250 or whatever for the day, great, I could do that. It's less than $100 normally. And they're very easy to work with. And, you know, maybe one day we need a van and one day we need a truck. And it just allows us to have that ability to use whatever vehicle we need at the time without having to make all the payments or incur the cost for that. That we tend to eat our money. I am such a foodie. It's so sad, but it's totally true. My husband is even worse than me. Like, I've never seen my husband turn down food. Like, he would have to be like very sick or something before he would turn down food. And thankfully I'm a good cook. So, that definitely helps. I think that might be why he married me. I'm not sure. But cooking at home cannot be overrated. Especially if you have, you know, the larger your family gets, the better it is to cook at home. And something else I would highly recommend is to go ahead and have people come over for dinner. If you don't want to miss out on the opportunity of going out with friends, that's perfectly fine. Have a game night at your home and invite your friends over, and everybody bring something. Especially if it's like maybe the end of the month with some of you guys and you're not really sure how your groceries are going to make it. This was actually something my grandmother called stone soup meals. And if she didn't have hardly anything, she would go ahead and say, hey, we're having stone soup. Come on over. We're going to play cards and we're going to have a great time. And the meaning behind it was everybody brought a little something and everybody shared. And at the end of the night, not only was everybody full, but there was also leftovers for everyone to take home. And it was a really enjoyable, fun night, and it was inexpensive, if not free. So that is something that I would highly recommend from my grandmother, to go ahead and encourage you guys that if you think you're missing out on a good time just because you're not able to go out, or maybe you're going out and you're spending money that you don't even have, maybe change the mindset just a little bit. You can still have a great time, even though you are coloring outside the lines, basically. You know, don't try and keep up with the Joneses. Invite the Joneses to come over to your house and play cards, and it's a great time. All right. The other thing that I would recommend is there are these little, you know how they talk about how there's like electronics that are like sucking up all of your electricity and stuff. Now keep in mind that is definitely something that you should save on as well. But what I'm talking about are those unused subscriptions that you probably have that you might not even remember. There's something called Rocket Money, and it will actually go in and see what subscriptions you have and cancel them for you. Of course, it isn't a subscription itself. I believe it's $8 per month. But the premise is still the same. If you're paying for Netflix and you haven't actually gone and found something on Netflix in months that you actually want to watch, turn it off. Turn it off and maybe go in a couple of months and watch it then. Or maybe you're listening to Audible and you don't want to spend that money each month. Not only can you contact them and say, you know, this is too expensive, and maybe they'll offer you a discount, or you can maybe just suspend the service for a few months and still have access to all of your books, but you won't have any new books coming in for a few months. Well, you probably have a whole bunch of books sitting there anyway, if you're like me. So there's a lot of things that you can do to to kind of postpone those subscriptions or cancel them altogether, especially if it's not something you're using on a day-to-day basis. I promise you can always go back in and get it later, but you're not going to have to spend it every single month. So look at those subscriptions. If you're getting magazines in the mail that you can go over to the library and read for free, or maybe get for free on your Audible account or something like that, then do that. Don't spend the money for it. Try and save, because it doesn't sound like that much. $15 here, $13 there, $10 there. But at the end of the month, that might be $100 that you could have used for something that you truly wanted, instead of just sending it to a company that you're not even using. All right. So speaking of shopping with these subscriptions and stuff, something that I would highly recommend is to shop with a list. Now, I have a subscription to Walmart Plus. I love it. Absolutely love it. You can, of course, use it for free if you want to do the grocery pickup. I choose to salvage my time at this point. I was using it for the grocery pickup, but that got so popular that at some points I would be sitting there waiting for the groceries, and it would take like an hour for them to get it into my car. And I'm like, this is a bad use of my time. I would rather spend this time with my family than to sit in a parking lot waiting for this. So I actually changed it up to delivery, and there, like I said, there is a fee for that, but it's minimal for me. That I found it to be minimal. Now, not all areas get the delivery service, and you can do, I think there's Kroger that does the delivery and Walmart that does the delivery, and it's much less expensive than something like Instacart. But what I have found by using Walmart Plus is I have saved hundreds upon hundreds of dollars over the course of a year on my grocery budget. Mostly because I'm not shopping in the store. There's no, oh, that's on sale, I need to get that. No, I have my list. I'm in the actual kitchen and I'm looking in the fridge and I'm like, okay, we're almost out of mustard. Add that to the list. And you can actually shop the different items. Well, this one's 98 cents and this one's $1.28. Obviously, I'm going to go to the 98 cent. But you have more time. You're not pressed for time in a grocery store. I hate having to grocery shop and then I have to pee, or I have to go to another appointment or whatever, and I'm kind of frazzled and in a hurry, or I haven't eaten yet, and oh man, then my grocery budget's through the roof. And none of that happens. I can sit there in my kitchen and add it to my little phone app, and then they deliver it at a time that's convenient for me. So for that, I've looked at how much we spend, and I've looked at the subscription, and that is a subscription I actually would recommend. Maybe not necessarily Walmart. Maybe you could do Kroger instead, whatever floats your boat. But they do also do coupons and stuff as well. And then that is used for next week's grocery bill, and actually getting a reduction at that point. So, and also it gives you an opportunity to get stuff not necessarily in the store, because if they don't have it in the store, they will ship it to you for free. So that's also part of that whole subscription. So that is one of the subscriptions I would keep. I don't know if I could go back to regular grocery shopping. At this point, I'm kind of spoiled. But that's definitely something that saves time and it saves money, and it has my entire list of groceries that we normally get. And I have to admit, we're fairly boring. We pretty much get the same stuff. And it's great. It's so much simpler. So, all right. Another thing that I would highly recommend, and my daughter is a huge fan of this, is we have some amazing thrift stores in Ocala. Okay. Absolutely amazing thrift stores. I would highly recommend, whenever possible, to please purchase used items. And that doesn't go just for, the thrift stores and everybody thinks of clothing and stuff like that. No, I'm also talking equipment, electrical equipment. I found that out the hard way. I'm such a techie. I absolutely love the newest, latest gadgets and all of that, and having, some really nice equipment. But a few years ago, I had a camera that I had spent quite a bit of money on. I had it stolen. And so I went to the pawn shops around trying to find I'm for sure my camera is going to be in one of these pawn shops. And I went around looking at the pawn shops. Well, I never did find my camera, but I did find nicer cameras for around $75. and mine was several hundred, and I was shocked, absolutely shocked. I have not bought brand new tech since then. I go on something called backmarket.com, or if I am doing something, it doesn't necessarily need to be this or that or whatever. I go on an auction surplus site from the government in the area, and there's some fantastic auctions all throughout Florida. So I'm kind of known for it. So I will get very, very expensive, very high-end equipment for pennies on the dollar. And I have been doing that for several years. And like I said, my daughter is a huge fan of thrift stores. Her and her bestie, who is supposed to be my bestie, but they go shopping together more than I do at this point. They go on little shopping hikes, and it's been fantastic. We set a budget for our daughter to get her back to school clothes. And yeah, she spent all of it aside from, a few odds and ends that she needed. And she did it in $20. So it was ridiculous. Obviously shoes and undergarments were sold separately. But I just couldn't believe it. She bought so many really nice high-end clothes, $20. That was the entire of it. And she was quite proud of herself, and she was thrilled. And that's what you really want, is your kids to be really thrilled with their back to school clothes. So that wasn't because she had to, it's because she wanted to. She wanted unique. She didn't want to look like everybody else. She wanted her own style, and that was the way she got it. So it was awesome. We're very proud of her, but I would love to be proud of you guys too. Go out there, look and see what's out there. Because like I said, there's some fantastic stores out there. So backmarket.com for those electronics is someplace that we've been using for several years, and it seems to be really, really great. And like I said, you can check out some of those government auctions as well. Awesome to get a hold of that. But yeah, some great ideas out there. Let us know what your tips are as well. I don't want to just go through all of mine, but feel free to share your tips, especially for this time of year. If you found something that has saved you so much money, please share. Absolutely share. Get that out there. So, if there's something that you want to share. So put it up on, if you're on our YouTube, please add it to the comments below. And if you're listening on the radio, then please send it over to our Facebook page for Classic Hits Ocala, and let me know. Please let me know. What are your best tips? What was your grandma's advice that was just unbelievable and so helpful? All right, so let's move on to another tip. This one my husband is a huge proponent of, to avoid credit card debt like the plague. Pay off credit card balances, avoid paying interest. I have to admit, I was not and still not quite as good as he is with this, but he just doesn't agree with it. He does not think, if you don't have the money for it, you shouldn't buy it. And for me, I'm like, well, yeah, but there was a sale. And he's like, yeah, but by the time you pay the credit card interest, you basically have paid more than that. And that also goes into that trap that I have seen on Amazon or eBay or anything like that. They have these no interest payment things, and you can break it up into 4 payments or 12 payments or anything like that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. That is basically the payday loan of the next generation. Do not do that. It is just as bad, if not worse, than credit card debt. So please, please, please do not do that, because if you have the money to pay it, go ahead and pay it. And if you don't have the money for it, don't buy it. That's basically all I can say, because I have heard some really scary stuff come from people that have paid way too much for stuff that they didn't need, using those payment plans, and they're very scary. So yeah, please don't do that. Don't do that. You are setting yourself up for some big payments later if you utilize those. So please don't. All right. Now, what about your savings? we are starting to come into a whole new world of savings accounts where you're actually making a little bit of money on them. So that is something that I would recommend, is make sure to go ahead and get that savings set up. If you can do an automatic transfer to your savings account each week or each month, however you get paid, highly recommend that you do it. Don't even look at that money. Don't even touch that money. Maybe even put it in a different bank entirely and just let it just accumulate, because that is something that a lot of Americans just don't seem to do, is to save. And that is huge. That is so important to have that savings account set up. We have a savings account, and then, we have listed different things that are going into that savings account. So if we're, saving for a trip or something like that, or maybe we need to get tires on the car or something like that, so that it doesn't all hit our budget at once, we could just kind of go in there and get that. So that's definitely helpful. Something else we were reminded of just the other night is to shop for your insurance plans. We realized that we had not really shopped for a couple of years on our car insurance, and it was time to kind of take a look at it and see, especially since we have another one coming into her 16th year and going to be added to our plan, which is just great. So definitely shop around, because insurance premiums may be going up, and when you go to a different company, even if they're offering the same things, it might be considerably lower, hundreds if not thousands of dollars lower. So definitely look into that and bundle if you can. So definitely look into that. If you are at all concerned with your insurance, get a great insurance rep that has the ability to look at several different companies' rates and get you the best one. I would say an insurance rep they're worth their weight in gold if you can get a great one. So definitely do that. Now, what about investing? Of course, my love is real estate. So investing wisely in real estate is so incredibly important. A lot of people are really into the stocks, the bonds, the mutual funds. I have had so many people over the years tell me to invest in Bitcoin, and I never really truly understood it. And if I don't really truly understand something to the nth degree, I will not invest in it. And it's not that it's not something to understand, it just didn't make sense to me. Maybe it's the blonde, I don't know. The blonde roots do go deep, I know. But for me, I just truly couldn't comprehend all of it. So I never got into it. A lot of people made a lot of money, but a lot of people lost a lot of money. Especially something volatile, I'm just not going to touch it. Our plan is to invest for the long term. Investing, from what I've seen, some people will come into our company and we have a discussion with them. If they're wanting to get into, hire us as property managers and they want to go ahead and invest in real estate, we have a sit down conversation. And what are your plans? How long are we planning on doing this? How long do you want to do this? What's your exit strategy? These are things that we go over with them before we will take their property into management, because we don't want to work on, a long-term goal and a long-term plan when they only want to do this for maybe a year or two, and then we have a completely different mindset and it's just not going to work. They're ready to pull out in a year or two, and we're sitting there going, you might lose money. It's not a good plan. That is not a good plan. So definitely something to consider. Investing is a long road normally. If you're just wanting to go in and, make a bunch of money overnight, that's, if you want to get into day trading, that's something completely different. That is not something that I would even consider investing. That's trading. that is not investing. Investing is over the course of days, weeks, months, and years, especially the years, maybe even decades. And that's how you see that growth. And over the weeks and the months and the years, that's where you really get a return on your investment. And that has happened over and over and over again. And keep in mind, for everyone that is so worried about the real estate market and what's going on in the market in general, millionaires are made in a down market, not an up market. In fact, investors, for the most part, have not really been able to invest much over the last few years because the market was so high. So there are quite a few people that have just been pocketing that money, setting it aside, making what money they could. And now if the market goes down, they'll actually be able to invest and make that money for the long term. So just keep in mind for the future if you are going to be investing. The ones that lose money are normally the ones that as soon as the market goes down, they pull out all their money. That's when you actually should be putting more in. Just that, yeah, if that's your mindset, don't invest. Just put it in a savings account. You'll save more money that way. Oh my, oh my. All right. Take advantage of the free community events and resources that we have. There are so many things that you can go and do here in Ocala on a weekly basis that are so much fun and so inexpensive, if not free. Oh, please take advantage of that. Those events and resources, I try to tell you guys about all those, and I would highly recommend that you get out and see what's available. A great resource is Things to Do Ocala, which is on Facebook. And if you have kids, it's kids for Ocala.com. Those are great for things to do and activities and just absolutely amazing things all the time available here in Ocala. So please, 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 please check and see what festivals and stuff and what things you can go and see and do and activities and stuff that they have for free. I mean, there is some amazing stuff. So put those on your calendar. All right. Something that I would highly recommend as well is to go ahead and maintain your possessions well. If you are not if I don't take care of my car is not going to take care of me, for example. If I don't take care of my house is not going to have a roof over my head for very long. These are things you have to maintain on the regular. I did not do that in my youth, and I paid the price for sure. And now I have definitely seen the value of regular maintenance and how it can prolong the life of your items. Even something as small as luggage, just get good quality things and take care of them. And you will have something that will last so long. I mean, there is some luggage that my grandparents still have that I'm like, good grief. But so just getting that good quality product and making sure that you maintain it is going to save you the most money over time. Especially talking about luggage, let's talk about traveling. If you are traveling to visit friends and family this time of year, goodness, you probably spent some very expensive, you've definitely spent some serious money for that. Maybe you could spend more quality time with friends and family on those off-peak times. Yes, of course, everybody wants to spend time with friends and family over the holidays. I totally get that. But at the same time, if you can just wait a couple weeks and then spend a few weeks with them instead of just a few days, wouldn't that be better? So yeah, just look at those off-peak time travel to go and do more for less. I'm not going to say don't travel because I love traveling. So does my husband. But doing it off-peak times, much, much better. So look into that. Another things that you can do is if you are at all good with, if you've got like a green thumb, growing your own food garden in your, and flowers and stuff is awesome. I did not know, for example, that your peppers are actually all year long. I was ready to pull out all my pepper plants because I thought they were done for the season. And then I happened to see something online where it said, no, you just cut them back. I have sweet pepper plants growing like crazy right now. And I found out that strawberries, you can actually have strawberries in December here. Is that crazy or what? So there is just stuff that I'm still learning every single day about gardening here in Central Florida. And it really is a year-round activity if you do it right. So tomatoes, I love fried green tomatoes. I do them in the air fryer. They're fantastic. But getting green tomatoes from Publix is not normally possible. And if it is, they are very, very expensive. So I found that just growing my own tomato plants, then I can have fried green tomatoes anytime I want. And it's very, much less expensive. So, because it's very easy to grow tomato plants in Florida. So, that's just one of those things that we've noticed. Another thing that I would highly recommend and is often overrated is bartering or trading. Exchanging services or goods instead of buying new is awesome. And it is very much alive and well here in Ocala. Doing a trade for something is something that I've done many times. So I would highly recommend that you look into it. If there's something that you can do for somebody else in trade, please do that. That is something that we've done many times over, and we've saved thousands upon thousands of dollars over the years doing it. It's absolutely imperative that you have the conversation up front, even if you're like a little embarrassed, like, oh, well, I know you need this that I can do, and I need that you can do, but let's just go ahead and both pay each other. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So if there's something that you can do and you can trade, perfect. It used to be something as simple as babysitting. So I had to work one Saturday a month, and one of my coworkers had to work one Saturday a month, and we both had little ones, and we're like, okay, well, you babysit my kid on that Saturday, and I'll babysit your kid on that Saturday, and then we don't have to worry about paying babysitters for when we work. And it worked perfect. So it's something simple like that, but it saved so much money. And it was great. So that might be something that you can look into. Just something as simple as pet sitting or babysitting, exchanging weeks when you're on vacation instead of paying for a babysitter, or instead of paying for a pet sitter or something like that. Just volunteer to take their time with their pet or their child or whatever you're going to do, and then you don't have to worry about it for your week that you're on vacation. So, just think outside the box, y'all. Just think outside the box. And hopefully next year, 2024, will be lucrative and less stressful for you if you just put into play, maybe not all of these tips, or maybe just a few of these tips, but I want you to hold on to hope that you can definitely have a better year and that you can have a better future for not just you, but also your family. All right, thanks for listening. That's it for us. We will be back next week, same time, same day, and we will be talking about subjects that are incredibly important for everyone here in and around Ocala. You guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time.
Shake it up, stop when the clock hits 13. Sing 1, 2, 3, 4. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.